When Vossler learned my father had been killed the night of the treaty signing, he returned to Ravenaster, there to aid my escape. There was still time before Vane's reach extended too far. We thought that you could protect me.
However, when I then made the announcement that you had taken your own life, I must have seemed a model citizen of the Empire. The announcement, you see, was Vane's suggestion. Of course, at the time I was reluctant, but I could not perceive his reasons. Now it is clear he meant to drive a wedge between us.
Halim, we are past all this. Busheba must stand with us. We can stop Vane.
I once knew a girl whose only wish was to be carried in her uncle's arms. Your Majesty is a woman grown now.
Then Busheba will aid me.
Suppose for a moment you were to defeat Vane. But then, you cannot simply rebuild your kingdom with the only proof of your birthright stolen. Without that, the Grand Kiltias on Boonises cannot and will not recognize your Majesty as the rightful heir. You may yet be a princess, but without proof of your identity you are powerless. You will remain with me. We do nothing till the time is right.
I cannot just wait.
Then what does your Majesty propose we do?
Uncle Halim.
Incidentally, what is the going rate for rescuing princesses these days? Food would be a start. The good stuff, mind you.
This can be arranged, though it will take some time.
Time enough for a bath, I hope. Dirty business, you know. Best bring a change of clothes, too.
What are you doing? This is Balthier's ship.
I'm going to retrieve the Dawn Shard. It's the proof that I need. I know where it's hidden. I'll return his airship later.
Are you crazy?
This is something that I have to do. Not only for myself, but for all those who have fallen. I will not be made to hide. I'll fight alone if I must.
You still have Bosch, right? Besides, you can't just go around stealing people's ships. What are you trying to do?
I'm trying to concentrate.
That's quite enough, Your Majesty. What do you think? A bit overkill?
In my line of work, you never know when something like this might come in handy.
I'm trying to concentrate.
I'm leaving you with the Marquis.
You can't!
Trust me, you're better off staying here.
Suppose you kidnapped me instead. You're a sky pirate, aren't you? Then steal me. Is that so much to ask?
What do you have that I would want?
The Dynast King's treasure. The Dawn Shard is but one of the riches that lie waiting in King Wraithwall's tomb.
King Wraithwall, you say?
Kidnapping royalty is a serious offense. It won't do much to lower the bounty on your head.
How much is the price on your head these days, I wonder?
Allow me to escort you in Vossler's place.
Will you be joining us?
What? Are you kidding? I want to stick around this place.
Then I'm coming too.
Canelo?
Don't leave me here.
Of course not.
Then it's settled. We should leave before the Marquis realizes she's missing, like proper kidnappers.
Dr. Sid, does this set Draculaur?
I have confirmed he receives funds from Lord Vane. His agency in the fall of Nabudis is also certain. Yet, with Judge Zect, who led the assault, missing, the truth remains difficult to ascertain.
The long cold years have clouded my eyes. I cannot see my own son's heart.
My lord.
This illness will claim me. So then, who is to be my successor? The Senate fears the capable Peregrine Vane. They prefer a young fledgling emperor. Gabranth, once in the past I laid siege to your homeland.
The Republic of Landis is long since gone. My allegiance lies wholly with the Empire.
Perhaps. But what of your brother? He did not accept us as you did. He fled to Dalmasca. Did you never think to follow him?
I follow his every move. He is an enemy of the Empire. He will be cut down.
So you would kill even your own brother for the Empire. Be that as it may, Gabranth, your ruthlessness is not without merit. But it must not become this way with Larsa. You must ensure that it does not.
So then you ask me to be his sword, to strike where he might not.
Rather be his shield. Gabranth, keep your close watch on Vane. His is the keenest blade of all.
My lord.
Do this for me, Gabranth. I could not bear to see my sons war with each other again.
Wow. This come in handy often?
It's tough being popular. Wouldn't want any admirers dropping in while we're away. Well now, that's as far as she goes. We'll be in yacht from here onwards.
Across the Sand Sea, to the Valley of the Dead, and to King Wraithwell's tomb below.
So when you're in yacht, skystones don't work at all. That's why we gotta hoof it the rest of the way, you see?
Happy you get to teach me something for a change?
Well, if you want to be a sky pirate, you gotta know your... Hey, what do you mean for a change?
Come on,
At least we thought to bring entertainment.
Oh yeah? Says who? You want to see what they think about it?
I wouldn't be so confident.
Ash is reunited with Andor, who appears to be her uncle, possibly on her father's side. She wants to escape and pursue the Dawn Shard herself. Andor doesn't want her to, so she tries to steal Balthier's ship. He finds her, and the rest is pretty self-explanatory. They go. Balthier wants the Dynast King's treasure. Fran goes with Balthier. Ash wants a Dawn Shard. Bosch is sworn to protect Ash. Vaughn just doesn't want to stay, and Penelo doesn't want to stay either. She wants to go with Vaughn. The voice-changing equipment that Balthier has there really doesn't fit into the scene very well, but they had to foreshadow it somehow for the very last event, and that's why they put that in there. In the next scene, we see an inside look in Arcades and the corruption of the Arcadian Empire, and the power struggle that's happening in it as Emperor Gramus, who is Vayne Solidor and Larsa Solidor's father, is ill. And when he dies, which seems to be pretty soon, there will be a power struggle between the Imperial Senate and who will succeed his throne. Gabranth is reporting to Emperor Gramus on Vane's doing, which is funding Dr. Sid in the Dracula Laboratory, which is a weapons research and manufacturing laboratory. And it also is making manufactured nethicite. So Emperor Gramus wants to find out what Vane's doing there. Gabranth really hates Bosch, and that's shown once again. And Emperor Gramus does not want Larsa to become cold-blooded like Gabranth or Vane, so he asks Gabranth to be his shield to protect Larsa. The Imperial Senate wants to stay in power, and they don't think that they can control Vane very well, but they think they might be able to control Larsa because he's young. Larsa could potentially have a power struggle with Vane in the future because of this, for who would be the next emperor. So Gabranth needs to protect Larsa in this situation. Gramus mentions how he can't bear to see his sons war with each other again. He actually had 4 sons originally, and apparently there was a previous power struggle, internal power struggle, and Vane ended up killing, maybe indirectly, not himself, but for whatever reason, 2 of the brothers died in it, and Vane became the next heir to the throne. And Vane, of course, is very cold-blooded, and that's shown once again, and Gramus is worried that Larsa might get caught up in a similar power struggle. Meanwhile, the party flies astral to the Dalmascan Westersand. They can't fly directly to King Wraithwell's tomb because it's in Yacht, which apparently is some sort of magical territory that makes sky stones, which are the reason airships are elevated. It makes them ineffective. And that's what Vaughn is talking to Benello about right there. The main party of 6 characters is fully assembled, and now begins the second arc of the story.
So, where exactly is Wraithwell's tomb?
Far to the west. We must first cross the Ogir Yensa, and beyond that the Nam Yensa, before we reach the tomb. An expanse of desert larger still than all of Dalmasca. We must pace ourselves. If you grow tired, we stop and take rest.
You don't have to worry about me. I'm tougher than I look.
You are at that. A construct to draw oil from the ground. Abandoned many years now, it seems.
Did Dalmascans build this?
No, the Rosarians. Their empire lies far to the west, ever at war with Arcadia. Heedless of the kingdoms caught in their midst. Dalmasca, Labradia, Landus.
'Tis the small craft's fate to watch the list of the galleons and pray for light winds.
Vosla, why are you here?
Imagine my surprise when upon my return to Bergerba, I find both you and the Lady Ash have vanished. I thought you above consorting with sky pirates.
Malthir is a man worthy of our trust, and it was the Lady Ash's decision. I am content to lend my arm, as I could not when Rasla died, when her throne was taken. Never again. I will defend her this time.
You walked the Knight's path. The Lady Ash?
We should leave this place.
Let me guess. Sandstorm?
Something far worse.
I see. So the Dawn Shard does lie in King Wraithwall's tomb. The Marquis sympathizes with your plight, yet the Empire perches as a carrion bird on his shoulder. He can keep whispers of your abduction silent for only so long.
Yes. Tell me, Vossler, what have you accomplished?
We leave at once. This is Urotan Yensa territory, and they are unfond of visitors. Looks like we've attracted the wrong sort of attention. Let's quit this place while we still can. Move!
Vossler! Have you found the means to restore Dalmasca?
First, we must claim the Dawn Shard. It all begins with that.
Bosch, ever helpful and likable, explains the route that the party must take through the Sand Sea to reach the Tomb of Wraithwall and recover the Dawn Shard. He looks after the younger members of the group, Vaughn and Pinello, there. To cross the Sand Sea, the party must walk on constructs, abandoned now that Rosarians had built in the past to drop oil. As you can see on the map, Rosaria is the world power in the west, which battles Arcadia in the east, and there's nations in between like Dalmasca and Nebradia who get caught in between in the power struggle that Bosch comments on. He also mentions a nation of Landis that he and Gebrant actually came from. Arcadia had conquered it before conquering Nebradia or Dalmasca, and Bosch fled to Dalmasca after that, which Gebrant really hated Bosch for. Gebrant stayed and eventually accepted Arcadian occupation wasn't so bad, and eventually joined the military and became a Judge Magister of Arcadia. By some miraculous act of Deus Ex Machina, Vossler is able to find the party in a sea of sand that is larger than all of Dalmasca. Well, more power to him, I guess. Anyway, he also sees the need for Ash to find the Dawn Shard because she had previously held the Dusk Shard, and that was taken by the Arcadian Empire when they captured her. The Dawn Shard can also prove her royal blood. Somehow the Dynast King's relics react to the descendants of the Dynast King. And if she had it, she could prove that she actually is the Princess Ash, and then reclaim her rightful throne in Dalmasca and possibly rise up against the Arcadian Empire. But first, she needs to cross the Sand Sea, find the Tomb of Wraithwall, and recover the Dawn Shard. The Urotan Yensa tribe, which are those cool metal guys who ride on fish through the quicksand, are a very awesome element. They appear as minor enemies throughout the whole Sand Sea area, but they do not play a significant role in the story's main plot, so I'll leave it at that.
Long ago, the gods granted their favor to King Wraithwall, who would oversee the subjugation of a vast territory spanning from Mordalia to Valendia. Here he forged the Galtean alliance. Though he is called the Dynast King, upon establishing the alliance he demonstrated compassion for his people and disdain for needless war. A philosophy passed on to his successors, one that would bring peace and prosperity for hundreds of years to follow. It was during this time of peace that the city-states of Arcadia and Rosaria, each members of Wraithwall's alliance, took root and flourished. Wraithwall left 3 relics signifying descent from the Dynast King. Of these, the Midlight Shard was given to what would become House Nabradia, and the Dusk Shard to my ancestors, the founders of Dalmasca. The last of these relics was the Dawn Shard. It remained hidden here, known only to those of royal blood.
As though the Dynast King foresaw the very plight before us now.
None save descendants of the king are suffered within. If we attempt to enter without proof of such lineage...
There's no guarantee we'll make it out alive. Vicious beasts, fiendish traps, something like that?
But you must consider the prize. The Dawn Shard lies within, and Wraithwall's treasure.
And there was I, thinking this was going to be hard.
The wall comes, we must be quick. Together we can bring it down.
Incredible. It wounds me to look on as they pillage so solemn a place.
Yet without help, you and I are as nothing. Is this not so? He thinks ever and always on his own profit. Assure him of it, and he shall remain true to our cause.
I do not share your Majesty's trust.
We will continue this later. Now we should concern ourselves with finding the Dawn Shard. It sleeps in waiting, somewhere deep within.
How can you be certain?
I can hear its call.
After crossing 2 sand seas, the party arrives at the tomb of Wraithwall. They encounter a guardian of the tomb and they defeat it. Some exposition from Ash explains how King Wraithwall, the Dynast King and Ash's ancestor, was given trinkets by the gods, which happened to be the Dawn Shard, the Dusk Shard, and the Midlight Shard, which allowed him to conquer a vast empire. The Midlight Shard was given to House Nabradia, which is where her fiancé, Lord Rassler, was from. The Dusk Shard was given to Dalmasca, and the Dawn Shard was hidden away in Wraithwall's tomb in case it was needed for whatever reason by his descendants. Later in the game, you'll see history tries to repeat itself, so keep this in mind. Inside the tomb are deadly traps and monsters like the Demon Wall, which I must add is a very cool bad guy. But Ash assures Balthier that the Dynast King's treasure is well worth the effort.
Fog? Underground? Not fog. Mist. You can see the mist with your eyes? Where it is thick enough, you may. The nether runs deep in this place. So, is the mist dangerous? Yes, but it is also an aid. A dense mist allows the working of powerful magics. I'll keep that in mind. Can't count on Vaughn to keep track of these things. That's for sure. In vain glory they arose, shouting challenges at the gods, but prevail they did not. Their doom it was to walk the mist until time's end. A legend of the Nemo.
My family tells a story of the Dynast King and an Esper. The story goes that in his youth, the Dynast King defeated a mighty Gigas for which the gods took heed of him. Thereafter it was ever bound to him in thraldom.
So, all this time it's been here guarding the Dynast King's treasure?
Not so. The Esper is the Dynast King's treasure.
That's your treasure?
In this Esper we now command rests a power whose worth is beyond any measure.
Is that so? Call me old-fashioned, but I was hoping for a treasure whose worth we could measure. What's wrong?
Your Majesty, we must go.
What? Will be avenged.
The party encounters and defeats their first Esper, Beleus, and it ends up that the Esper is the Dynast King's treasure that Ash had promised Balthier. Balthier was tricked by this, thinking it was gold or riches or something, but he's not a man to be fooled twice, as you'll see later in the story. Espers have an interesting backstory that doesn't really correlate with the main story. They, for whatever reason, all the Espers tried to rise up against the gods and were all defeated and banished to Earth, where if you defeat one, they're bound to whoever defeated them to serve them. So throughout the story, you can find several Espers. Some are storylines, some are secrets, and once you beat them, you can summon them. They're the summoning element of Final Fantasy XII. As Ash recovers the Dawn Shards, she sees what she believes to be the ghost of her dead fiancé, Lord Rassler, and Vaughn sees him too. Spoiler alert for later in the story. That's because when the Okura want to use Ash, they had also considered Vaughn as a possible candidate for someone they could use. So that's why Vaughn sees him, but none of the other party members do. Ash is sad and misses her dead fiancé, and she looks at her wedding ring. And you'll notice at the end of the scene, Balthier sees Ash looking at it, and he figures that the ring might be a method of insurance so he doesn't get screwed over again.